this video is finally going to be coming out after playing about 48 hours in a sense of Destiny 2 Shadowkeep since it's been launched on Steam and to the public as a free-to-play. Now, I have a lot on my mind since its release because I've been very curious to see if this will be a good stand for Bungie. They're now finally out of the grips of Activision. They're on their own accord, which means they can make their own decisions on where the game is going to go. Are they going to fix it for the better, or are they going to make it worse? Now, I saw a lot of the pre-patch notes before it was released, and there was a lot of good news and a lot of concerning news, but a lot of the wording also represents how well the game is going to work once we play the game. Because just because there's text does not mean can go one direction and can go the other direction. And all I can say is from my experience so far, from playing through Shadowkeep and the new Light update overall, it looks like they did a great and fantastic job. The most amazing thing to me is the fact that this game boosted 226,000 players. That's what Steam registered for the PC crowd. I obviously do not know the numbers for the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One free-to-play crowd as well. But the fact that 226,000 people jumped on this game is amazing to me. I was not expecting that high of a number. I remember people speculating that the player base for the PC version of Destiny 2 was about maybe 2,000, 5,000 people. Now, of course, we do not know the perspective of the percentage of how many people are returning players like myself who played on the Blizzard net for a while, or players that are actually playing Destiny 2 for the first time ever through the Steam's free-to-play system. And I gotta say, this is great. Now, it's hard to say how many of those players will stick to the game. Obviously, most games start with that giant boost and then it dips. That happens to a lot of games. I remember when playing on Battlegrounds, like boosted up to like 3 million players, but then steady out to 1 million, and now it's like only 300,000 players. That happens with a lot of games. You get that initial burst, and then you have the people who want to stick around, which is not a bad thing. That happens all the time. But we'll see how things go through after about 2 weeks since then. I want to list this firsthand. The Destiny 2 New Light experience, I think, is the greatest introduction for people right now. They removed the Red War startup, homecoming, that normally happens when you start a new character in Destiny 2, and recreated the Cosmodrome mission from Destiny 1, when the ghost flies in, wakes you up, and you run through. They brought back the original broken rifle, shotgun, and the rocket launcher from Destiny 1 for this experience, as well as the Arcadia lightship, which made me incredibly ecstatic. I know most people probably won't care that as much, but for me, seeing the Arcadia in Destiny 2 with the shader system, oh, it made me smile. But that experience, I think, is a great way to begin for new players. It's a new, safer environment that just doesn't thrust things in. And I think that was kind of the problem with Destiny 2 if you picked it up firsthand without playing the first one, which could happen, especially if you were on PC first. Not only that, the game is open up to everything. You do not get railroad stop per se. Now you do when it comes to, I believe, planet locations. I believe you have to earn enough experience to unlock things like Titan, Nessus, Io, and things like that. But I believe that you can also just unlock them instantly almost by just doing story missions, and then it should unlock automatically without a problem. But the fact is they open up everything to you. You can start up the Red War mission if you wanted to, and I believe you can also start up Curse of Osiris or Warmind if you wanted to and skip that. You could go straight into doing strikes, straight into doing patrols, straight into doing Crucible, straight into doing Gambit. You also have access to Black Armory, Menagerie missions that were originally locked out through the annual pass. Those are all available to you, to new players entirely. And with you, everyone's bounced to 750, and all people have access to all subclasses and all trees. However, if you want the third tree, which does change your abilities in a certain direction, you do need to buy either Forsaken or Shadowkeep, which is understandable. But the fact that you have access to all subclasses, all trees, right from the get-go, and the fact that you have access to all events right at the get-go, I think is a great way to start players off, because they can do whatever they want and start anywhere. And if they want to do the story, they have the Red War, Curse of Osiris, and Warmind to go through. Forsaken does need to be paid for, as well as Shadowkeep, but the price for Forsaken, I think, is fair. $25 gets you the the Forsaken campaign, as well as the missions from the annual pass of Black Armory, the Drifter, and Opulence. So for $25, that's one big content drop and a couple of little content drops, as well as getting access to a bunch of armors and weapons and things if you care about that. And I think that works for $25, and it lets players choose how they want. And what's cool is you don't need Forsaken to play Shadowkeep. If you want to go straight into Shadowkeep, you can buy that and go right in, which I think is fantastic of a great start. The fact that they updated the cap to 250,000 is also cool for the Glimmer. The way they rework a lot of the bounties and the way the system works, I think is fantastic. This system is great to me. Now, granted, I know I have only played about 2 days worth of Destiny 2 since the launch, and it's a possibility that maybe over time there might be something bad. I haven't seen it yet, so take that into consideration when I continue on with this video. But from everything I've seen, I'm incredibly happy with how this game is being worked on. Now, I understand that it does have the problem of doing repetitive content just to get powerful gear, just to do things. There is no matchmaking for raids, nightfalls. You still have to get pre-made teams. I understand that there are problems with the gameplay design overall, but I think it works a lot fairer now, in my opinion. But again, that's just my opinion, and I understand that most people still might not like Destiny overall because of these mechanics. That's fine. Now, one of the things that I was curious about was when they talked about basically their introduction of the Seasons Pass thing, which is basically a battle pass. And some people might groan and be angry about that, and that's absolutely valid. A lot of games are throwing in battle pass systems that are just really stupid. Quake Champions did it, and I know I've talked about it in not disappointing wise, but not too much praising. It's okay, but it's also just, it's there. It's not a nuisance, and the game is also just still in this weird state of we're not sure what's going to happen. But then you have Rainbow Six Siege that's introducing a battle pass and a small battle pass and all this other stuff after all of its monetization that already exists, and that's just is already bothering me in all the different cases. But from what I've noticed of this Destiny 2 Battle Pass is that if you buy Shadowkeep, you're guaranteed the Season of Undying Pass, which means you're access to that premium tier. And it doesn't seem like there's any restrictions per se. Now, I have noticed that as you level up in the past, there are some bonuses you get in the paid, like being able to get more resources from dismantling, more legendary shards with dismantling, 2% increase of experience gain, which keeps going. I think it goes up to maybe 20%. I don't remember the number, but it goes up pretty much. A couple of exotical cosmeticals and ornaments, just things like that. And I've noticed that the experience game is the same of 100,000 experience. Now, you also get a boost of an experience game every week, and Tuesday is the reset point. So every single week you can get 5 levels pretty quickly. And with all the bounties that exist, which is the bounties from Vanguard Strikes, Crucibles, Gambit, Black Armory, if you do the opulent stuff, obviously that's if you have Forsaken and things. Each of the planetoids, which is EDZ, Titan, Nessus, Io, Mercury, Mars, Tangle Shore if you have Forsaken, Dreaming City if you have Forsaken. That's a lot of bounties and a lot of stuff that you can complete. Plus, there's repeatable bounties that you can purchase for 3,000 Glimmer, a bit more expensive than most bounties are, but it's a randomized generation that you can do as many times as you want, which is a good bonus. So, I feel like this is a great balance for everything. I've already seen people up at, like, Season Battle Pass, like, 16 and 20. I'm currently at, like, 9 because, well, I'm behind a little bit. But it seems like you can get things done pretty quickly if you're just doing what you normally do. Do your bounties, do your events, do your strikes. You know, if you're doing raids a lot to try and get things like Anarchy or 1,000 Voices, it works, I think, pretty fair. Now, if you buy Shadowkeep, which I think I'm repeating myself, if you buy Shadowkeep, you get the season for free, which most people can feel like it can be manipulated because it's giving you a taste of it, so it makes you want to pay more later. Now, we do not know the pricing point 100% of the time. I heard it's being reported that when the next season drops, it will be only $10 to buy it, which I think is a fine price, but I mean, that's usually how it is with all of it. But we will see how the seasons go, how fair they feel. Do they have enough rewards that are okay for people who don't want to buy the $10? Are they not over egregious? And some of it mostly seems to be cosmetical rewards, and that's fine. Now, one of the other changes that they made, to go past that, is the Bright Dust system. Now, originally, the Bright Dust you got from getting Bright Engrams or dismantling Eververse-related items. That is no longer the case. You do get Bright Dust, I think, occasionally from Engrams, but the best way to get it is mostly from the weekly bounties that show up with Zavala of the Vanguard Strikes, Shax of the Crucibles, and Gambit from the Drifter. There are 2 available that you get that you only get to access a week. And based on what I've experimented, it looks like you get 200 Bright Dust per thing. So that's 400 per person. And times 3, that is 1,200. That is 1,200 Bright Dust you get a week. But you also can do it per character. So if you're playing all 3 characters, Warlock, Titan, and Hunter, you could also do it on all of them. That's 3,600 Bright Dust you're getting a week if you're doing all of it. Now, granted, that is the question of people's time. Some people might only have an hour to play, and some of those bounties could take a bit of time to finish, depending on what you're doing. So I understand that it could take a while for some people, but the fact that you can get 3,600 a week, plus the repeatable bounties that give you some Bright Dust, plus the stuff you can earn through Bright Engrams once you hit level, I think it's like level 13 or 18, and then every 5 levels in this whole Seasons Pass thing, you get a Bright Engram. It feels very fair. And the fact that you can use the Bright Dust to buy anything from the Eververse store that rotates every week is very, very nice. The highest price I've seen using Bright Dust was like 2,800, but the fact that you get 1,200 a week per character with, I think it works. But again, we'll see, because I have not seen much price adjusting on any of the Eververse items. It doesn't seem like they made them anything too egregious. So I think that's pretty nice. Plus, I also think the silver pricing is direct and more fair. But again, that is always based on certain opinions, and most people still think it is egregious, and that's perfectly fine, and that's a valid concern in a lot of different directions. But so far for me, I think this is great for Destiny and for new players. But, that's just how I feel about it. And so far, I think they did a beautiful job as a startup. The fact that it's on Steam, it's free to play, and also it's released on Xbox and PS4. The fact that there's cross saves that allows you to bounce between consoles and PC if you so desire. I know most people might say, why would you want to go to the stupid console crowd? I don't care. I think games are fun to enjoy, and plus there's some people who might not have the money to get a computer to run the game correctly. And so I think it's great that you'll be able to do that. They also removed the exclusive weapons and armor that were originally only on the PlayStation, like the Wave Splitter or the Thorium stuff. That is now available completely for all accounts. So PC people and Xbox One people can have access to these items, which I think is so awesome. This is great. And Bungie, you are starting to give me promise. I'm stuttering badly. I'm so happy you're giving me promise that you're doing some good. Now, this is the first step. We do not know what the future holds. They might do something bad. They might change everything. They might break promises. But right now, I think this is fantastic for a lot of people to start getting into Destiny if they wanted to. This is the greatest thing ever to me. Now, what are my thoughts on Shadowkeep so far? Well, I don't want to say much for spoiler reasons because it's only been a couple of days, and I don't want to accidentally tell anything to people. But through my experience so far, I'm incredibly happy with everything so far. Now, I've not finished Shadowkeep, I've not finished all the missions, but one of the things I do want to say that doesn't spoil anything to the story, but I think the greatest thing to me is the fact that we are back on the moon. But it's not just that we're back on the moon, it is the patrol missions from Destiny 1, but obviously changed around with the existence of the Shadowkeep/Scarlet Keep's existence, which is awesome to me. The fact that I'm able to recognize where you originally started, to the buildings that I remember traveling around, to certain locations that I remember visiting during strikes and even certain raids on Destiny 1 is goddamn awesome to see in Destiny 2, which makes me wonder, can they bring back the other patrol maps from Destiny 1 into this game? And if they can, please Bungie, bring me Venus. I want my Venus back. That is my favorite patrol from Destiny 1 still, and I would love to see Venus return. But we will have to wait and see what happens. And what the future holds, most of all. because we do not know what other expansions they're going to release. All we know is Shadowkeep was the only one that was being made. But maybe they'll do some smaller content drops like they did with the annual pass. We will have to wait and see. But overall, this to me is fantastic. And if you were curious about Destiny Overwall, it is free to play. It is a great time to start, and I recommend it. But I also do understand if someone plays it and was not liking the game whatsoever, and that's fair. But I think I can end the video here. So far, I'm pretty happy. I was very scared, and I want to keep myself like underhyped as much as I could, because I saw a lot of promises that looked like it was great, but I was also concerned that they could still mess it up in the update. But so far, I think they're doing a beautiful job. We'll see what the future holds for Bungie, and hopefully they don't break any promises or anything of the regard that makes me start being disappointed with the game more. Because if anyone remembers, almost last year, I made a video where of all the things I was very disappointed about Destiny 2, that I felt like they could have done better. But it looks like they were finally listening and finally fixing a lot of the stuff, and I'm incredibly happy for that. And with that, I'll end the video here. So thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and take care. Also, yes, I know, the servers didn't launch very good, and a lot of people were being kicked offline. More than 70 people were, like, not available, including my stream. I played Heretic while listening to a Destiny 2 lore video, just to pass the time on still streaming. So, it happens. Nothing is perfect. It's very hard to launch smooth, but Bungie did their best, especially for Shadowkeep, and I think things has been smoothed out since then. So, just want to tack that on at the end. Have a wonderful day. Take care.